first thing, we are going to review what we did yesterday, which is identifying parts of an algebraic expression. Who can tell me a key term from an algebraic expression? Jason. Good. To be an algebraic expression, you have to have a letter, a number, and Josh? Okay. All right. Aiden? So that's an operation. Good. We need an operation. All right. What are some parts inside of an algebraic expression then? Lily? A coefficient. What is the coefficient? Look at your guiding notes from yesterday. Help you. Becca? Good. So if you have like 5a, the coefficient is 5. It's the number in front of that variable. And what else do we have? Josiah? Terms. Good. What is a term? Clay?
A number, a variable, or the product of a number and one or more variables separated by a plus or minus sign.
Good. Perfect. So they are separated by a plus or minus sign. That's really important. They're separated by a plus or minus sign. But the key is, you do not involve them if they're inside of parentheses. Jacob. What? A variable? A variable. Good. A variable is a letter. Okay? That is an unknown value. Hudson. A constant. Good. A constant is going to be just a number. We do not know its, or we know it's always going to be just that number. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our guided notes from yesterday. We are going to be in part 2. So we're back to the front. We're jumping around here.
Quantity is something we can measure, like how many inches of rain will fall right here during this storm. I can measure it as soon as it stops raining. A variable quantity is a quantity that varies or changes, like how much it will rain here for a whole year. That amount will change from year to year, and even from day to day. Quantity, variable quantity.
All right, so in your guided notes, under part 2, we need to fill out these two blanks in the guided notes. It is quantity is something you can measure, and a variable quantity is a quantity that varies or changes. So go ahead and fill those in your guided notes. Variable quantity. One you measure, one is going to change. Let's go ahead and look at an example. You have a prepaid cell phone. As you talk on the phone, the number of minutes you have left decreases. When you get below a certain number of minutes, you have to buy more. This is the type of phone my dad has, but the issue is he just never carries it with him. So it's like he doesn't even have a cell phone. He doesn't like them at all. He'd rather have those phones, those rotary phones, where you put your finger on the number and you just go around and goes, and another number goes. He says he'd rather use those. Or those types of phones. It's crazy to me, but he's not a fan of technology. So we're going to fill in the blanks and identify which quantities are variable quantities. A, the number of minutes available on the phone. This is not in your guided notes. I should have told you that earlier. We're just looking up here on the screen. So the number of minutes available on the phone. B is the cost per minute to buy more minutes. C is the amount of money you spend buying minutes. And D, the number of minutes you use per call. So they go in order. What I'd like for you to do is talk to someone close by, stay in your seat, and make sure and try to find whether it's a quantity or a variable quantity. Does it change or does it stay the same? That's what you can do to help out. Go ahead, I'll give you like a minute. Stay the same or are they changing? It's an easy way to help answer these. The number of minutes available on the phone. Is that going to always stay the same, or is it going to change? Josh? It's going to change, so that's a variable quantity. When I wake up in the morning and I have 20 minutes left on my cell phone. At lunch, I go to and there's 5 minutes. I had a 15-minute phone call with my neighbor, and we talked about the weather. It was great. Okay? My minutes change. Okay? So that is a variable. B, the cost per minute to buy more minutes. Brogan. That's a quantity. It's going to stay the same for the most part, right? The cost of those is one amount. Always going to pay that same amount. C, the amount of money you spend buying minutes. Maggie. Good, that's a variable quantity. Why is that a variable quantity? Jason.
Because you can buy different amounts of time depending on what you're in.
Good. So in the month of December, you're probably going to buy more minutes. Can someone tell me why you think you buy more minutes in December? Quinn. You're at home more in the winter? I can see that. Jacob? It's cold out. We want to go outside and talk to people. Parker? You're stuck inside. Yep. Aiden?
Holidays.
It's the holidays, right? That's what I think of. I want to call more people and wish them happy holidays. If you have a party, you need to plan it more, so you're talking about that. Okay? Compared to like January when no one does anything. It's the most boring month of the year. Okay?
So mean.
This is my opinion, right? But I think January is just so boring. Okay? All right. The number of minutes you use per call. Is that going to change or is that going to stay the same? Clay, it's going to change. So that's a variable quantity. You don't say like every phone call is 2 minutes. You call your mom and say, hey, I'm at the K. You can come pick me up? And she says, yes. Well, 2 minutes aren't up, so I got ice cream. Talk to my phone. And you just don't keep talking just to get to your 2 minutes. Does anyone have someone that they talk to on the phone that doesn't stop talking? They keep going on and on. That is my aunt. I'll say, all right, I have to get off the phone now. She said, okay, but this one more thing. 5 minutes. Well, one more thing. 20 minutes later, we've talked about 5 other things on the phone, and I cannot get off. Love her, but it's hard to get off the phone with her. Who has someone like that? Who is that person? You are those people. Nice. Okay. All right, let's do the next one. Suppose you rent a bicycle to ride around a park. The rental fee is $12 for each hour the bike is rented and $5 for a helmet. Which quantity is not a variable quantity? So we're just going to talk whether it's a quantity or variable quantity. It's not on your guided notes, just up here. So the length of time you rent the bike. Is that a quantity or a variable quantity? Hudson. Okay, I would say it could go both ways. If you're looking at it one time, I want one bike ride and I want for this amount of time. It doesn't change. But if I look at all summer, how long I rent my bike is going to change. Do you agree with that? I would say this is probably more variable quantity, but I could see why it could be a quantity. All right. The total cost of renting the bike. Total cost of renting the bike. Jason. A quantity? Jacob, you wanted to raise your hand. I know you did. Okay, why? Good. The cost can change. Or someone tell me how the cost could change. Josh. Good. I could rent it for 1 hour. How much would it cost if I rent this bike for 1 hour? Quinn. Oh, that would be very unsafe of you. $17. Always wear a helmet. Safety first. Okay? $17. What if you rent it for 2 hours? How much does it cost then? Aiden.
34 hours.
not $34. We don't need 2 helmets, do we? A double. A double. $29. You just pay for your helmet one time. Okay, it's a one-time fee. Stay the same. Okay? Alright, I just gave the answer. What is the rental fee of the helmet? That's going to be a Parker. It's going to be a quantity. It's $5, whether I rent my bike for 1 hour or for 10 hours. That makes sense? Okay, and the last one. The distance you travel. Distance you travel. Patrick, what do you think? Variable quantity. I agree. Maybe one day you're feeling really energetic. You just want to keep riding. You go really fast. Other days you're like, just going to go for a stroll in the park. Or you see your bestie. You want to talk to them. New scoop. Okay. The lowdown. What's going on? Okay. Nice job with that. Any questions? Then what I want you to do is, in your guided notes from yesterday, so lesson 1, 2, I want you to go to part 4. Part 4 and answer that question. You're figuring out. Circle the variable quantities. All right, let's look at part 4. It says Tyson takes the same route to work every day. He drives 15 miles to work each day. The amount of time it takes him to drive the 15 miles changes from day to day. There are 5 stoplights in the drive. If a stoplight is red or yellow, he stops at the light. If the stoplight is green, he does not stop. He also pays $3 for tolls each day. Which of the quantities listed below are variable quantities? So we have A, the number of miles he drives to work each day. Is that a quantity or a variable quantity? Maggie? It's a quantity. We drive the same way to work every single day. Same route, so I'm going to drive the same amount of miles every single day. B, the amount of time, there's a typo in this. The amount of time it takes to drive to work. Patrick. That's a variable quantity. In this case, why does it vary? Clayton. Good. You might hit all 5 stoplights. Yes. Or you might hit all red stoplights. The worst thing. Okay. In my commute, I have to drive through Dayton. So mine is that I might get stuck in traffic. Really bad. Or my drive to school, being out front of this building, getting stuck in traffic. Okay. It varies. It's a variable quantity. C, the amount of money spent on tolls each day. Ben, what do you think? It's a quantity. That's not changing. You're paying how much every day? $3. Okay, the number of stoplights he stops at. Brogan. That's a variable quantity. You could hit them all green or all red or a mixture of all of them. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and go on to the last part here. Part 3 on your paper, we'll be looking at part 5. It should be what? So the amount of money spent on tolls each day. In the problem, he says he also pays $3 for tolls each day. So those are always going to be $3. Okay. On your tolls, have you ever been through? Anyone ever been through a toll booth, right? Going on like a vacation, maybe. You go through them. I don't think there's any in Ohio, but you just go through. You have to pay a certain amount of money. Okay, it's the same for every single person. So. Help pay for the rooms. Okay, what we're going to do in this problem, we are going to drag each part of the expression. So here is the whole algebraic expression. And we're going to list the vocab terms. We have a product. We have a sum. We have factors, a quotient, and a difference. Again, this part is not in your guided notes. We're just going to look up here on the screen. So I should see all eyes up here. Okay. If we have parentheses, 4x plus 3. What does that represent? A product, a sum, factors, quotient, or difference? What do you think, Quinn? A sum. I would agree. That is an addition problem. So it goes into the sum. We have 42y divided by 6y. Jacob. A quotient. Good. It's a division problem. Then we have 5, parentheses, 4x plus 3. Macy. A sum. We already have one there. There's only one for each. Okay. This is going to be a product. Someone tell us why it is a product. Hudson. Good. When you have a number next to parentheses, that is multiplication. So this is 5 times parentheses 4x plus 3. Product. Okay, what is 5 and parentheses 4x plus 3? Josiah. These are factors. What is a factor? Patrick.
Addition or minus sign outside of parentheses.
No. Aiden? The word and. So factors are numbers that are being multiplied. So if we have 4 times 5, the factors are 4 and 5. Okay, they're the numbers that you're using to multiply. It's up here on the board as well. We get the top right of the word wall. This factor. And the last one here is, Maggie, is the difference. Let's check our answers. Yeah. I like to call her the crazy mom. She does these cool dances. I wouldn't say they're that cool, but she's kind of cool. Lily. She seems like one. Okay. What I want you to do now, in part 5 of your guided notes, it says identify the factors in the expressions below. So if you did your homework last night, it had you do a problem like this, and you have to put a comma in between the factors. Who missed those problems because they weren't putting the commas? Did it take you forever? Didn't realize? If you didn't, that means you read the directions. They're right below or to the side of it. Put the comma in between your factors. So let's do the first one together. It says 6, parentheses 5. That is 6 times 5. What are the factors, Ben? 6, comma, 5 would be your answer. Go ahead and answer the rest of those.
It's 7, x plus 16.
Good. So when we have 7, parentheses x plus 16, the two things that you're multiplying are 7 being multiplied by this whole thing here, including the parentheses, so x plus 16. Those are your two factors. All right, the next one. What are the factors? Parker.
22, 59, 11.
Good. 22, 59, 11, 8, parentheses, z minus 4. Aiden.
8, parentheses, z minus 4.
Awesome. 8, comma, parentheses, z minus 4. And the last one, you should have 3 is one of the factors. And the second one is parentheses y plus r divided by 2, close parentheses. 2 factors there. Brogan. Oh, they didn't have you put the parentheses? Did it count it wrong if you put the parentheses? You didn't put them? Okay. I will look farther into that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the guided notes from today. It's 1.2 continued algebraic expressions. This is the one I passed out to you. It says, the first one, identifying parts of an expression. This is a review from yesterday. Each part of the expression that is separated by a plus or a minus sign is called a... Lily. A term. Good. Go ahead and put term here. And our example I want you to use is 8x plus 5 parentheses 4a minus 1 close parentheses minus 15. How many terms here, Josh? 3. Good. We're going to circle our plus and minus signs that are outside parentheses. There's 2 of them. This does not count because it's inside the parentheses. So the first term is 8x. The second term is 5 parentheses 4a minus 1 in parentheses. And the last one is 15. Okay, the next one says a blank is the number that is multiplied by a variable. Back up. A good coefficient. I'll do the best to spell coefficient. I'm not a very good speller. Coefficient. I think that's how you spell it. An example of the coefficient. Does anyone have one? Patrick. 12x and 12 is the coefficient. Okay, just the 12. You need a variable to go with it. Okay. Or did you get the example from the one above? Okay. So if you have 12x, 12 is the coefficient. What is the operation in between 12x? Quinn. Say it confidently. Be more confident than that.
Multiplying.
There you go. Nice. Multiplying. All right. Questions? All right. The last one. The numerical value that stands alone is what? Clayton. Good. The constant. If I have 5a plus 3, what is the constant? Ben? 3. It's not plus 3. It's not minus 3. It's just 3. Okay, I then want you, on your own, to turn over to the back, and I want you to identify these vocabulary words for the algebraic expressions given. I'll give you a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to go over them as a class. Okay, what are the variables? Our variables. Wait. R. R is the variable. What about how many terms are in this algebraic expression? Patrick. There are 3. We have a plus sign and a minus sign. That's 1, 2, 3 terms. What are the coefficients? Or what is the coefficient? Hudson.
12.
Good. 12 is the coefficient. It's the number in front of the variable. 2 is not in front of R. Okay. The coefficient is a multiplication problem. Right in front of it. What is the product here? It's the answer to a multiplication problem. What is the multiplication? Jason. Say it confidently. There you go. It is 12R. 12R is 12 times R.
So if you wrote 12 times ours, that's still right?
You wrote what?
You wrote 12 times ours, that's
Yeah,
right?
that works. I'm just going to be lazy like everyone, most people, and write just 12R. Because that's how you'll most of the time see it. Okay? All right, what's the quotient? Lily.
R over 2.
Good. R over 2. Remember, a fraction is just a division problem.
So 15 is a division problem.
And the constant. What is the constant here, Maggie? 19 is the constant. We good with that? All right, let's finish up this last one here. Hopefully we're done. All right, What's the variable? Our variables. Beckham.
Y.
Y. Nice job. How many terms are there? Emma, what do you think? 3. I'm going to circle my plus and minus signs that are outside the parentheses. That's inside. So I only have 1. So my term would be 2 of them. Okay? If you circle this is a division sign separated by a plus or a minus sign, and that is it. All right, this one's tough. What is the coefficient? Aiden.
1.
1. 1 is correct. When you have just a variable, there is a 1 in front of it. We don't write it because we're lazy, and there's no point of writing 1y that represents 1y and writing just a y representing 1y. Does that make sense? Okay, so the coefficient when you have just a variable is always going to be 1. What's the difference here? The difference would be, Clayton?
2.
Yes, if you solved it. But the problem would be 4 minus 2. Okay, you just solved it there. And the product? Jason?
1Y.
It's not what it's looking for, but I guess it will work since we've been saying it. 1y, I agree. Brogan?
3 and then
Yep. Use those two. I would count both of those. And a constant is what? Who did I not hear from this? Caitlin. What would the constant be? Good. 3 is not always going to be just 3 because y could be something else. So what's the term that's always going to be the exact same? This is always going to be 5.5. Okay, so the constant would be 5.5. Remember, a constant is going to say plus or minus something. We'll always say plus or minus something. If you did not finish Math Excel 1-2 homework, make sure you please do that.